But moving on, you have MCX that is in focus, a stable set of numbers that have been reported by MCX with profits leaping by almost 79%, and we did see a modest gain in terms of where the revenues were concerned. Let's hear out what Mrugank Paranjape, who is the Managing Director and CEO of MCX, had to say and what's the outlook going ahead.
I think in the tax there are two aspects that you should understand. At MCX we formed a clearing corporation this year. Under the tax laws we are allowed to claim that contribution to the SGF as a expense, but because we did not have a clearing corporation till now, all of our contribution was sort of accumulating. So it's a one-off credit and that's why you see a MAT credit this time. So that being a one-off, from an ongoing basis, I think, and we explained in our investor call as well today, that we do have certain long-term capital losses which are carried forward, and we will be able to utilize some of those effectively. So we believe that a tax rate of about 22-23% is a tax rate that you should look at on an ongoing basis.
Correct. So if we talk about your ADV, what's the sort of trajectory that you foresee going ahead, and especially talk to us about the future volumes and the option volumes going ahead?
So I think we like to look at the whole story in terms of the growth and the ADTV from, say, a base which we took, which was actually 17-18, and our view has always been that in a market which should grow at the minimum at sort of close to real or nominal GDP growth, there is a lot of delta coming from either better distribution channels, better products, or better participation, and which is why we have always said to the market that I think a 15% sort of growth in terms of the ADTV is something which one should expect. Very happy that this first year of what we said, we have stayed true to that. We have about 21% growth in the turnover. And we believe that this 15% guidance that we have been giving to the market will continue to be there. Why do we say that? Because the three primary drivers continue to remain as it is. We have realized maybe half of the potential in terms of the distribution. So you've got maybe a lot of your brokers who have combined their memberships, and that is obviously helping them grow their retail push because they now have everything under one roof. But we still believe that there is an upside because the bank subsidiaries which have come into this market have only started distributing now. So some of them got active in Q3, most of them got active in Q4, and it's really now that we will see the benefit coming through. So distribution will continue to add, and when it comes to products, I think options started to grow in small measures. We expect approvals in index-based products. And finally, in terms of participants, I think the much-awaited institutional participation will happen. So I think those factors remaining absolutely as they were over the last year, I think the sort of ADT growth that we've been aspiring to of 15% per annum is there to stay.
Absolutely, sir. So as far as crude oil and gold is concerned, what's the sort of traction that you're gaining there, in terms of volumes?
So I think we should look at these two slightly separately. The volumes in most of the mature products where you have say metals or crude is very linked to the volatility. Similarly for gold. So I think the crude volumes have really picked up maybe at the expense of the metal volumes because the volatility in crude is much more. But I think what is very heartening for MCX is the volume growth we are seeing in gold, and that's something because pre-demonetization we used to be at a ADTV of about 9,800 crores on the bullion segment, and that dropped to 4,500. We are seeing a lot of those players come back. So I think it's a very healthy and encouraging sign for us that the bullion volumes have really crossed about 7,000 in the month of March, and that's the trend which we are hoping will continue and accelerate the growth that we've seen.
Correct. So what's the scope of growth for MCX going ahead? What would be your key strategy and focus for the company?
So I think regulatorily a lot of the work is done. I think like I said, distribution is enabled. We have to make sure that almost all our members who want to combine memberships, we can do it quickly so that they get benefit of scale. We have to make sure that the new bank distributors scale up so that they can get more retail into this market. When it comes to products, I think options is already launched. It's only a question of, again, deepening and penetrating the market more. At the same time, I think hopefully SEBI will approve index products soon, and once that happens, it's again launching those. So again, a lot of the focus of MCX is going to be around execution.
Right. So in terms of option contracts, what has been the kind of participation that you have seen, and what has been the volume growth in that space?
So I think consistently we are now clocking in excess of 500 crores on a daily basis in terms of turnover. But I think what's more heartening is that we have more than 1,000 clients on a daily basis trading on the platform. I think that's the growth that we're looking at. So I think getting more retail client and getting more retail participation is really what we are looking forward to in the options platform.
Right, the stock also seeing gains of almost 2%. So that's with regards to where MCX is concerned. A stable Q4 is what the company has posted. But moving on, as Jet's troubles surge, you have Ajay Singh, who is the chairman and managing director at SpiceJet, spoke exclusively to BTVi, explaining how SpiceJet would capitalize and act on the Jet Airways shutdown. In fact, let's listen into what he had to say.